Big news to start 2026, and that is Rolex's price increases, their retail price increases. Now, what does that mean for the rest of the industry? Well, let's get right into it. So guys, I feel this is a really important topic just because Rolex is kind of the standard bearer for the rest of the industry. They really set the tone for what other brands will follow in terms of their retail price increases or lack thereof for pretty much the entire calendar year. Now, I would have to say in the watch industry, they've probably been the most aggressive, probably the only other one being Patek Philippe. And I'll demonstrate today really how their retail prices have increased just over the last 2 years to amounts that are actually quite alarming, to the point where they're pretty much erasing any real juice in kind of the most premium models that you can get, or the most attainable stainless steel models you can get. Now, of course, these price increases weren't uniform across the board. They've ranged anywhere from 2 to 6%, depending on if they're a steel or a gold model. The issue becomes that every single year with price increases, the price increase is not on the original price point, but rather it's compounded year over year. And so that leads to much higher price points that frankly are way outpacing inflation or any other reason that you might say. Sure, gold is up, sure, cost of materials, cost of labor, everything you may kind of denote is up, but these price increases really over exaggerate any of these costs that Rolex may see. At the end of the day, Rolex owns their own foundry, which makes their gold and their proprietary alloys of stainless steel and other things. Of course, they own huge factories that pretty much make all of their movements. Their movements are very seldomly hand finished. Let's just be kind of honest. They're very industrially grade movements, great movements, but no doubt about it, the amount of hand finishing is very, very minimal overall. And at about 1.5 to 1.2 million watches a year, let's call it, these are kind of made, I think, to scale on an assembly line. I know it's an unfortunate truth people just don't want to admit, but it's just the reality of things. And so to say that their labor costs or their material costs have increased dramatically and these are the result of price increases, it simply isn't true. I think this is Rolex trying to catch up with the gray market, and they're doing so at an alarming rate. Now, I wanted to kind of hone in on stainless steel models, because obviously we've seen the price increase in gold models, which has been a lot more aggressive due to the price of gold being now almost $4,600 an ounce. It's absolutely incredible. And so Rolex has obviously aggressively raised their retail prices as a result. However, when you look at their stainless steel models, to me, that is what is the most alarming, no doubt about it. Now, you look at a steel Daytona, for example, that in 2024 was retailing for $15,500, 2025, $16,000, and in 2026, $16,900. When you average that over a 3-year period, that's a 9% increase just in the price of the actual Daytona in stainless steel. Now, of course, can Rolex command that? Sure, because the price sells double its retail price. But then you keep going down the line. Well, take a no-date Submariner, for example, which started at $9,200 in 2024, $9,500 in 2025, and $10,050 in 2026 now. So if you actually take a look at it, again, we're talking about an average price increase of 9.2%. This to me is super alarming, because when you're talking about a no-date Submariner, which, let's just be honest, nobody is really going out there and just purchasing it as their first watch without a wait. So we're talking at least a 6-month wait. At a $10,000 retail price, assuming that your sales tax is around 10%, let's just say for ease of numbers, you're walking out the door with that watch being $11,000. Now, what's a gray market dealer like myself going to pay for it? Well, probably $11,500 and resell it for what, $12,500? I mean, there's not really that much more margin that you can make on something like a no-date Submariner. At the end of the day, 25% over retail is a lot to pay for a Submariner when the previous reference 114060 can be had around the $10,500 price point. Now, again, 40 versus 41 millimeter, new versus old movement. But this is just to kind of go and show you that they're quickly pricing themselves to where the gray market is. And to be quite honest with you, this is a topic that I've discussed at length on this YouTube channel, but it's a very sexy proposition to own 10 Rolexes, all of which trade over retail, back in 2020 to 2024, 25. But when you realize that you're buying, I don't know, a solid gold piece, maybe a gold GMT, a gold Submariner that trades significantly, or even a gold Skydweller that trades significantly under its listed retail price, now doesn't become such an attractive proposition overall. And again, for me, this is a very scary thing because we're looking at Rolex specifically, right? And this is not even accounting for lines like the Datejust, which many of sell under retail, if we're just being honest. Again, it's just a price point that is becoming exorbitant for Rolex specifically, especially Rolex customers, if they're looking to buy it and ultimately kind of keep it as a short-term or potentially long-term investment, to ultimately keep their funds at the same price that they purchased it for. I mean, it's just the entire juice in the watch is totally gone. Now, my one issue with that, again, becomes how do you sell 1.2 to 1.5 million watches that are not as attractive as they used to be? Well, that remains to be seen. Rolex's numbers are very strong. We'll see what their 2025 numbers were, again, with these really high retail prices and the market kind of being a little bit all over the place. Did they actually sell everything? We don't know. Are they still by far and away the market leaders? We don't know yet. So I'm really interested to see the 2025 sales numbers as a result. But I will say that these drastic increases in price over time is really, really alarming, especially as they come 2 or 3 times potentially per year by brands like Rolex, by brands like Patek Philippe, who are ultimately the standard bearers for the rest of the industry. I mean, for example, Omega just released a beautiful new moon watch with a beautiful lacquer dial, reverse panda lacquer dial, just a gorgeous, gorgeous timepiece. I mean, I absolutely love it. However, this is a watch that now sells over $10,000. I never thought we would see the day that a kind of traditional Speedmaster professional selling over $10,000, like a Moonwatch professional I'm talking about, selling over $10,000. Again, when I started in the industry, a sapphire sandwich Speedmaster, this was an 1861 Speedmaster, was around 5,000 US dollars. It's now over 8,000 US dollars in the span of 5-ish years. So we're talking almost doubling the price pretty much over the last 5 years, which again is just a crazy thing to think about, because again, that isn't keeping up with inflation, that isn't keeping up with the cost of materials, that is far exceeding both of those things. So just my opinion, again, I think this is a really scary proposition for the rest of the industry, especially if they choose to follow suit, because at the end of the day, how can other brands keep up with this kind of inflation? There has to come a point in time when even Rolex themselves are going to be capped with these price increases that simply can't keep up with the cost of materials, cost of inflation, and frankly speaking, the economy. Sure, granted, people who are wealthy and affluent will continue to buy watches at these price points, but how can we continue to justify these average price increases of almost 9% across the board, even just for standard stainless steel models? Is the price of stainless steel going up that much year over year? Again, it simply isn't sustainable, but I look forward to seeing the year-end review numbers for Rolex's sales. Guys, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you think Rolex will continue to increase prices as aggressively as they had in the previous years? Or do you think this will kind of curtail over the next couple of years and you think Rolex will kind of steadily keep prices where they are for now? If I'm being honest with you, I think Rolex has to do something about this. There's no question about it. These will get out of hand very, very quickly if they continue to compound their retail prices every single year at an alarming rate, 8-9% per year, just for stainless steel models. That's not even accounting for gold pieces. So yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, this is Marco for Bernice Jewelry. Pleasure making these videos. If you enjoyed that, please be sure to like the video, subscribe for more videos like this in the future, and let us know down in the comments below any videos you'd like to see from us here in the future. Thanks so much for watching.